So I'm TJ3, and I'm here with.
Damiana loves. Also, Damiana loves you. That's my everything because I'm here to be an embodiment of love, and I love you, and I love everyone.
So I think you will give a good answer for this question. So why is it a problem for people in a relationship to like other people's photos on social media? Why is that a problem?
Okay. So, because of the programming, many layers of programming and around scarcity of love. Ultimately, it comes down to like feeling a scarcity of love and feeling competition. So we, especially as women, have been trained for a very long time to be in radical competition with each other and also extremely jealous. We've been taught how to pit each other, how to be pitted against each other, essentially. And so because of that, the programming in our mind is it's not that of love and what I was just speaking to, an unconditional, limitless love, right? And loving each other and hugging each other, hold each other. It's literally to put each other down, to tear each other apart, and that she is a threat, and that she's a threat, and everyone's a threat, right? Like that's what we're taught. And so when you're very deep in the distortion, when you're deep in this programming, liking someone else's anything means that they don't love me. That means if you love that person, that means that they don't love me because there's a scarcity of love. There's only a certain amount of love. What? I don't know what
So it means like only one can win.
Oh yeah.
Only one can win. If
Yeah.
that one is good,
That
then it
means
takes
that-
the
yes.
place of what wins. That only one can win.
It's like it takes away. It's like you like her, so that means that it takes away from how much you like me.
Right.
That's the energy behind it, but it's a complete distortion. It's an illusion. This is what I was talking about the amount of illusions that have been placed upon us there's so many layers, and it's our job to like peel apart the layers, take off all of these layers, because when we get to the truth, that is a lie. It's a literal lie, that programming. So
What would you say is one con and one pro of social media?
the con, I would say, is the competition. So many people go on and are just constantly comparing themselves and like getting so sad, so deeply sad, and people are even committing suicide. There's been extremely high rates of suicide linked to social media because of the amount of jealousy and competition, and people seeing, especially with filters, people seeing people depicting themselves as perfect. Also on Instagram, you're literally only seeing the highlight reels, period. You are only seeing the absolute, like the best of the best. You're not seeing any of the shit. I'm not to say any, because there are some people that are more vulnerable and authentic and true, but their majority is not. So that was what I would say is part of the con. And also people, you can utilize, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Just like any tool, you can utilize the tool for evil or for good. And so there are people who are using the tool of social media for perpetuating stories and programs that are very toxic. But then there are also people like me who are putting out, I haven't checked out your page, but I would assume you're putting out good stuff too, but maybe, like this being. But that are putting out, if you go onto my page, if you were to like browse around and watch some of the things and do some of the practices, should you come a little closer maybe? So if you were to go and do some of the practices, you could actually start to transform your life, because everything I put out is very intentional, very powerful, motivational, like profound rememberings and simple things. So one is to be able to have access. Like I have people messaging me from all over the world, having been inspired, transformed, motivated, are so happy to have the support and the love that I pour out. So it's like, it's that access of weaving the World Wide Web in this way, like the real web of like our connection and our ability to connect through, not just social media, but to actually connect through our ability. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also really, again, everything, it's like the power, just like the mind is a very powerful tool. The mind is a very powerful tool. But it can actually override everything if you allow the mind to take over, and it can ruin the show. So it can run, if it takes over and starts to run things, it can ruin you. That's how you commit suicide. That's how you kill others. That's how you rape. From the mind being so distorted, the amount of pain and suffering that is in the body. So it's up to us, again, of how are you going to wield the tool. And the more that you choose to wield it in a good way for more love, for more beauty, for more healing in the world, the more you will receive that. The more you put out evil, anger, suffering, perpetuating the lies and the programs and the distortion, the more you're going to surround yourself with that. The more that's all you're going to see around you, because that's what you're going to attract. Just like we were talking about the frequency vibration, the more that you're vibrating on that lower level, you're going to attract more people who are vibrating on that lower level. So I attract fucking epic humans on my social media because what I'm putting out is so loving and so healing.
Would you say the mind is a muscle that you can work?
Absolutely. So what I say about the mind is that it is a muscle that we have to entrain. So I help people entrain the power of their mind so that it doesn't take over.
Yeah.
So anxiety, different kinds of mental health, all different kinds of mental like diseases, as well as like what a disease is, literally dis-ease. It's like it's being out of synchrony, out of resonance with the body, the mind-body, heart connection, coherence. And so as you start to create more resonance and harmony and peace in the body and the brain, you calm the system, you can actually harness the power of the mind. You can harness it and wield it to create anything you want. We are literally magic. Like, we are creators. We have the ability to create life. We have the ability to create anything we want. Everything that you see, this phones, everything that you see was first a vision, was first yes,
like
we have the ability to create anything. So what are you utilizing your power for? And also our words are spells. So what are you utilizing your spells as literally that's why they call it spelling, because we're casting spells with our words. So how are you speaking? What are the spells that you're casting in every moment? So I have an academy of remembering. It's literally like Hogwarts. It's like school for people. Did you ever see X-Men? You know how like the gifted kid, but it's like they go to X-Men to like train because they have all these powers. But if you don't harness your power, you kill people.
Right.
You literally like blow people up accidentally and kill your parents and like all these things because you don't know how to harness and wield this profound power, right? It's the same thing for all of us. And so this is part of what I help people do because I have been through it my whole life. I went through so much suffering and pain when I was young, and then I had this like massive awakening, and I started in training and harnessing my power and like being able to open the power of my gifts, but also to refine them, which is really vital for us to be able to actually create more beauty and love and healing in our own lives and in the world versus the opposite.
What would you say is the sweetest thing someone's done for you?
The sweetest things what?
What is the sweetest thing someone has done for you?
Oh my God, it's the sweetest. Honestly,
It could be anything.
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you a few different things. So I give worship ceremonies. I give these profound experiences around worship and devotional love. Most people haven't experienced what it feels like to really just be like have pure unconditional love, focused attention on them without it needing to be sexual.
Yeah.
Most people only know connection, intimacy, love
Right.
connected with sex. So this is one of the things that I guide people in my sessions and what I train people in. And I had a lover give me a 8-hour worship ceremony where he just gave to me and loved me and held me and did all of these beautiful rituals and practices for 8 hours. And I was just like in heaven. I've also had 20 people massage me at once and feed me, and I create these experiences where this is what we do and the ways that we love each other, and it's one of the things that I do every year for my birthday.
Okay.
And this is the kind of crew that does that, and the kind of people I like to bring together to play in these energies. And that kind of stuff is something making a beautiful, having someone make me a bath and come and feed me, and I love that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I love to be worshipped. It's like my kink. I love to be worshipped, and I love to worship people.
Okay. Sweet.
And that's what I love to show people how to do, because most people don't know how to do that.
Right.
They only know how to fuck. Which I'm telling you, the kind of orgasm most people experience is so fucking tiny, so minuscule. It's like the peak orgasm. We have the ability to experience so much more orgasmic bliss, infinite orgasms, literally orgasms for hours and hours and hours. But most people don't even know it exists. So there's so much There's so much more to this world than what we've been taught in every area.
So can you give some advice on, this might be a touchy subject, but can you give some advice on prawn?
What is it?
Prawn.
What's prawn? Ah.
So,
Nice.
so talk about what it does and how you can stay away from it.
Okay.
The benefits.
So,
and,
excuse me. So most of our culture, their entire sexual education comes from, and because of that, it is so distorted what we think of as a sexual experience, sexual connection, the expectations, the way that the things that we're seeing, we're literally being programmed to think that that's what all sex looks like,
right?
And it's completely false. And because most people are programmed this way, that's the only kind of sex that they know. Literally, that's all they know. This is why I do what I do. I show people how to actually make love to each other and how to experience sex magic, sex rituals, blood rituals. Like, there's so many magical things that we can do, and we just haven't been shown. So one of the things that's really important around that is, there's so many layers to this. I work with addicts.
okay.
Yeah, and it's so deep because a lot of people, their first experience was when they were like 6 and they were watching it, and there's so much shame around. There's just so much to this. Honestly, we could have like a whole deep dive conversation on this. But I would say one of the first things to start to do is to stop watching it and to look for more ethical porn, which there is out there, and it's actually one of the things that I've actually been in a couple experiences like that. I have a couple things that I've done that is around worship, and that's part of what I actually am creating is sacred sexuality and showing people. I have courses like showing people how to actually make love to each other and how to give like all of these different types of, more tantric, but also like the distorted version of tantric. But it's like, again, just making love to someone versus fucking them, essentially. Yeah.
This is totally
and
different, right?
experiencing infinite orgasms, which most people don't know how to do. Most men don't even know that they can hold their ejaculation and experience like full body orgasms. They're used to tiny little quick ejaculations. Most women have only had clitoral orgasms. They don't even know that they can have hour-long, 3-hour-long, 5-hour-long orgasms. That like rolling orgasms. Rolling. They just haven't even experienced it. And some women, I've worked with like a 50-year-old that hasn't even had an orgasm her entire life because our programming is to please men. All of the programming is for women to please men, and that our pleasure doesn't matter. That's what we're taught. So it's so extreme. Are you leaving? I know, I want to give you a hug.
Wait.